This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by the North Law Firm. For car accidents and negligent security cases, call Joe at 239-337-1191. By Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers, where you can report crimes and get paid with nobody knowing your identity. Call 1-800-780-TIPS. By Solomon's Air Conditioning Incorporated. No matter what the weather condition is outside, have it your way inside. 239-693-1569. And by Lee Health.
Welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. Of course, I be him, Lee Pitts, and so thrilled to be here at Toles Park in Southwest Florida. It's located in the heart of Fort Myers in the Dunbar community, and it's a part of the conversation that we're having our Icons series. As we kick off our Icon series, we're going to start off with one Roy Kennix. If you lived in this area, it's a familiar face as a leader in our community. It's going to be a part of the Lee Pitts Live Icon series for 2020. Roy Kennix has been a pillar in our community, and he never stops working. He's the only person I've ever called my mentor, because I don't really do the whole mentor thing. I don't look for mentors. The way I was raised, I just have to go out and make it happen. And if anybody give me a hand, they give me a hand. My mom kind of taught that self-sufficiency thing, so I didn't really know what a mentor was, struggling to make ends meet, until I met Roy Kennix. The first time I saw an African-American male that I could see as my role model and somebody to advise me, I met him when I was around 29 years old, and we've been good friends ever since. I tried to elevate my stature with him and call him my uncle or something.
Sick and tired of sitting in traffic, staring at the back end of the car in front of you? Sick of burning through hundreds of dollars worth of fuel each month? Tired of dishing out more and more money to fix your car just to have it break again? Ride Leetran and leave the driving to us. Whether you want to go shopping, go to the beach, or commute to work or school, let Leetran get you there. It's just $1.50 per ride. Check Leetran's routes, maps, schedules, and discounted rates at rideleetran.com. That's rideleetran.com. Leetran, your ride is here.
AIDS Healthcare Foundation has over 30 years of experience providing cutting-edge medicine to our patients, regardless of their ability to pay. Our Fort Myers location offers a wide range of services, from easy access support groups and case management to advanced HIV treatment and testing. We've got you covered. Our one-stop shop model includes all healthcare and pharmacy facilities and one easy-to-access location. We even offer Ryan White services, HCV testing, and additional support services. AIDS Healthcare Foundation is honored to be a part of the Fort Myers community. Call 239-337-2391 or visit hivcare.org today.
Mosquitoes will bite day and night, so protect yourself with these tips. Keep mosquitoes outside by shutting doors and covering windows with screens. Use EPA-approved insect repellents anytime you're outdoors. Cover your skin with long sleeves and pants. Mosquitoes lay their eggs in water. Just a bottle cap of water is all they need. So drain, refresh, or cover anything around buildings that can hold water at least weekly, and put away outside items that aren't being used. A message from the Florida Department of Health.
Roy, welcome to Lee Pitts Live, man, and congratulations on being selected as one of our icons.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have this opportunity to be with you once again, and particularly given the nature of the occasion. When you use the word icon, that is something special. Mm-hmm. It bespeaks a certain level of achievement and professional recognition that is attributed to that individual. So once again, I thank you for actually having me be part of a series of individuals who made special contributions to this wonderful community.
Well, you were my first choice when I started to explore my 2020 icons. There'll be others who will be coming on board. And I chose this setting here to interview you because this setting in the heart of the African-American community, in an underserved community here in Florida, is the perfect setting for a person like yourself who has allocated the majority of your adult life, or all of your adult life, to helping improve the station of minorities and disenfranchised people in this country to achieve higher heights despite the privileged life that you grew up in. Tell me how you get to that point, how you got to that point of being so concerned about, I call it privilege, Roy, I know you don't like that. He's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi 2 thief, and I'm a Phi Beta Sigma. Roy, just tell me how you got to that, your ideology. How did it first get shaped like that?
Well, I think in terms of an ideology, when we speak of an ideology, everyone has an ideology. Sometimes they're not conscious of that. You either exercising an ideology about which you're conscious, or you exercising somebody else's ideology. But quite simply, ideology has to do with your orientation, your direction, the kind of values, political values you feel are important. I learned from an early stage, I suppose, from my parents, growing up in South Louisiana, that it was very important to be concerned about the improvement of people, individuals in the community, in our immediate community, and in the community around us. My parents never graduated from high school, but they had a great sense of consciousness and wanted to make sure that we, their children, had the best opportunities available, because they believed that even though we were growing up in a segregated environment, that there would be opportunities. And just not to prolong this phase of my life, I do want to say my father was constantly, and I observed him, reading magazines like Ebony and Our World, Jet magazine, that touted the achievements of African Americans. We learned about guys like Ralph Bunche at an early stage, because my father was always showing us magazines about these gentlemen. So it helped to instill within us a sense of pride and a desire to want to achieve. I had the great opportunity, because of my father's perseverance, to attend a small school, elementary school, and my father wasn't a wealthy man by any means, but it was a private school, and he paid for our tuition. Mine,
Catholic
my
school,
brother,
if I recall.
Roman Catholic school.
I've heard all the great
St.
stories.
Catherine of Siena. Terrific school. We learned the 3 R's at a very early stage, and I'll just say this: if you didn't learn, they had something for you, and I think some of you probably know what I mean. But at any rate, I had the great opportunity at 15 to graduate from high school in Donaldsonville, Louisiana, and enter Southern University.
All right, before we go to Southern University, stay with me. I'll walk you through it. Let's go back to your formative years in high school, elementary school, where you talked about you went to the Catholic school,
right,
and you got a great foundation in education. And I want to take that opportunity to say that you understand the value of a great foundation in education. It could lead to so many other opportunities. And right now, you and Frankie, under you guys' leadership, basic learning skills is giving the less fortunate and anybody else the opportunity to get those fundamentals at an early stage with your tutorial program.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Lee, because you're absolutely right. Basic Learning Skills Learning Center, for which I serve as Director of Planning and Development, and one of its founders, along with my wife, has been providing tutorial services. We call it no frills tutorial services. And now what do I mean by that? I mean essentially that there are programs around, for example, that tend to stress mentoring, development of character, self-respect, self-esteem. While we think mentoring is important, we also know that a student at a certain age needs to learn how to read effectively, comprehend what he reads, to speak effectively, and to do basic math. And you got to learn these basic things: how to read, spell, and how to multiply, divide fractions, add. Do these things effectively at a certain stage. It can't happen when you're in 10th grade. It's almost too late then. So basic learning skills, my commitment to that entity is a reflection of values I learned at a very early
Right.
stage.
Roy, you've really gotten a chance to see the world. You've been to Africa.
Yes, I have.
You spent some time in Europe as well.
Right, but mostly overseas in Africa, especially Ghana.
What stood out to you in Ghana that you would never forget about as we move through this?
I guess the thing that stood out to me when I was in Ghana was there were a couple of things. One, I was very, very excited about the interest of the Ghanaian people and following the tradition of their great first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah,
Okay.
to be able to control the their own destinies. And they felt the way to do this was by gathering the resources to be able to develop the minerals in the country, especially gold. I don't know if many people don't realize that Ghana remains one of the world's greatest producers of gold. Also, the fisheries industry in Ghana, especially the tuna fishing industry. But what Nkrumah did that just seemed to permeate the character and values of the Ghanaian people was a certain kind of Afrocentric orientation. By that I mean, well, I'm using the wrong term. I mean sort of Pan-African orientation. And by that I mean that the Ghanaian people felt that African people in Africa, as well as African people throughout the African diaspora, and that includes us, African Americans, needed to be involved in the development, assisting with the economic development of Ghana. And that's how I first got to Ghana, not on a frivolous, nothing frivolous about joy trips, but I went there as an African American who had been an associate of Kwame Nkrumah when Kwame was at Lincoln University. And that man was there to help the Ghanaian people make contacts with African Americans, especially, and others in this country who could help help the Ghanaian people with economic development without taking over that development. So he was looking for people who knew something about architecture, something about helping develop the timber, fisheries industry, and also the gold mining industry.
Servicing Southwest Florida for over 30 years, Solomon's Air Conditioning Incorporated is your leading family-owned and operated air conditioning company. There's no job too big or too small. Solomon's Air Conditioning Incorporated is here for you. We have maintenance contracts and financing. For additional information, visit our website, follow us on social media, or call the office at 239-693-1569.
Remember, no matter what the weather is on the outside, have it your way on the inside.
Solomon's Air Conditioning Incorporated.
Service you can count on.
Hi, I'm Dr. Simone Mitchell, principal of the historic Dunbar Community School. Our doors are open to students ages 16 and older who would like to earn a GED diploma or improve communication skills through our English as a Second Language program. Dunbar Community School also offers career assistance upon graduation. For a better future, enroll today and let our experienced faculty staff help you reach your goals. For additional information or to tour our campus, you may visit our website, find us on social media, or call the school at 239-334-2941, and together we will cultivate a mindset for success.
A smile on the face of a child can say a lot, like I'm safe, I'm happy, or I'm loved. Yet there are hundreds of children in our community with little to smile about. Their homes may have been disrupted by drugs, violence, abuse, or neglect. Won't you please welcome a child into your home as a foster or adoptive parent? A little change in your life can mean a big change in the child's life and put a smile back on their face. Become a foster or adoptive parent. Call the Children's Network of Southwest Florida toll-free at 1-855-933-KIDS.
Early on in your life, not you an adult, but economic development, all that has it's been a part early on of the fabric of your life, which brings us to, we're going to skip around, but right here where we're sitting right now, these acres of land that we're sitting in, so apropos to you as economic development, improving your own lot in your own communities. Tell us where we're sitting and what's going to be here. Say about a year from now, we'll see construction going on here, and this will become what under your leadership?
Okay, let me say, I can put it in some context. I've been involved in some aspects of economic development, you're right, all my life. When I came to, I have to put in context, we talk about this particular site. We're sitting at the Toll's Garden site.
In Dunbar, on the corner of Highland and Edison Avenue and Veronica Shoemaker. Go ahead.
Well, may I say a few things about the Dunbar Shopping Center?
Okay, we're going to go to that. Go ahead. Go to Dunbar Shopping Center. Okay. But I don't want to get off this.
All right, there's a linkage between these two projects. My reputation as a guy with some capacity for economic development here in this area grew out of my successful leadership, along with Richard Sapp and others, in taking a 5-acre piece of land, and to help you know where the land is, those of you who may not know, it's presently occupied by an organization called the Dream Center. Mm-hmm. Well, when I came here, that was vacant land.
On ML King Boulevard.
That was vacant land.
Right next to the Pepsi plant there.
Right. And you know, Lee, when we came here, that was vacant land. However, there was a dream on the part of two African-American councilwomen, Veronica Shoemaker and Ann Knight, to have a retail center in the Dunbar area. Okay. So I was working for we had developed a community development corporation.
LEEDCO.
Right, doing business development, and you were our vice president.
I was the senior vice president.
Let me correct that. You told me there are vice presidents, but there's also a special vice president. And that person has the title of senior. And Lee did a lot for us, helped us to understand banking very, very well. So that was a big plus that he added with his own technical expertise coming out of banking as a professional.
In fact, if you hadn't had an economic development mindset, Roy, you and I probably would never have met.
That's very
because
true.
I met you under the guise of you trying to get small business loans in the community. Exactly. Let's go back to the shopping center.
Well, the shopping center came about because, as I said, it was the premier project interest of these two councilwomen. But people were making fits and starts, but nothing really ever happened from that situation. So as one of the projects of the LEEDCO organization was the development, taking that idea, assisting those councilwomen to bring that idea into fruition. So we started the process, took that piece of land, and we got tax credits for PepsiCo, who owned the land, and in place of that, they donated the land to the shopping center.
An amazing accomplishment.
So that was, from there, with site control, anybody who's done development know the magic of site control. If you've got site control, you're able to do what is called leverage. You can leverage real money and capital. You can go to the capital markets, the banks, and get what you need to build, and also the grant-making agencies. So we just methodically went through the process of going to federal agencies that I had learned about through my travels around the country in my capacity as executive development person for LEEDCO, and in my role as vice president for the National Congress for Community Economic Development.
And you were outstanding in that role, and I got a chance to see you from right there on the ground, to see you do what you did during that period, and it was just so influential on me, and for me to see a black man doing what you were doing, and also along the way you were helping us, mentoring us, teaching us the road maps, and you didn't realize you were doing it. You were just doing stuff, Roy, until I started telling you. I was just watching you and picking up everything I could, man.
It was fun, okay?
Go ahead, continue on the shopping center. I don't want my battery to run out on
Just to make a long story short, I mobilized funding from about $6 million from federal agencies like the Economic Development Agency, the Office of Community Services, and in order to, and also from Lee's Bank, gave us some direction there. The old First Union Bank.
Mm-hmm.
They put up the debt capital, and the banks, the agencies provided equity. The grants, we didn't have to repay that because we had to repay First Union. Okay.
I wrote the business plan.
So it was about,
by the time Roy recruited me from the bank to work for him, and then I wrote the business plan to take back to the bank. So they were getting a document, a proposal that was coming from one of their former employees. It's a nice move, Roy. Nice move.
Thank you. We had fun.
That carried me a long ways too. Okay, so then after the shopping center, now you're into real estate development right now for residential living.
Well, actually, it had. I developed a reputation as a guy from this community in particular.
Black community?
Yeah, not just here, but somewhat nationally, who could put together the requirements, the capital and technical expertise needed to develop a substantially significant project development. And that was pretty well known, not just here, but elsewhere. So there came a time when Councilman Streets, to his credit, is a guy who looks out for the community, placed on the city council agenda an item in which he said that, hey, you know, it's about time we did something about that big piece of land at Highland, Edison, and Veronica Shoemaker, other than let it continue as a nice space with some lovely oak trees. Can we do something about that? So I just simply saw Councilman Streets,
Johnny Street,
I guess, articulation of what I saw as an opportunity for economic development in an area that hadn't done much in recent years since the Dunbar Shopping Center.
That's where we're sitting right now, people, this area.
Right, in terms of economic development. And the unique thing about this was that the Department of the City, Community Development, I guess at that time through leadership and the impetus from Mrs. Sharon Rozier, had put together an RFP that focused on the need for affordable housing that would be 100% ownership, home ownership. But it went one step further, lest anybody think that it was just going to be, always going to be exclusively an area for low and lower income people. I don't think there's a thing wrong with that, because there's a big need for low and lower income people in terms of housing. But what she envisaged was that this development be carried out as a mixed income development, which would have both affordable housing as well as housing, well, let's say by affordable housing, we were talking about housing that people made no more than 80% of the median income.
I see.
Could afford. And that's around $40,000 to $50,000. They could pay for that kind of housing. Okay, so to come to where we are now with some brevity, I after Herman Russell was really not available, I went to Robert McFarland, who was locally basically a developer of luxury housing, like Boulevard Saint-Tropez, Campo Felice, downtown where the old Sheraton used to be.
Okay.
And also he has a new development called Prima Lucy, which will be, again, luxury high-rise. But I knew that Bob McFarland also, within his body of work, had done affordable housing. So when I went to McFarland and said, hey, why don't you jump on board with us and let's respond to this RFQ.
That got us to where we are today. What is going to be right here in this lot? How many units estimated to be here? I think you said 80, was it 80?
140.
140 units. How many acres of land do we have here?
7.5.
7.5 acres of land. When should we see some dirt turning over here and construction start?
Okay, let me say this. One of the things I want to do also is give you a sense of the mix of people who are involved with this. I said that eventually the contract and let me underscore this to all who are listening, the contract for this development was awarded by the city of Fort Myers to 46 Pittman LLC, a company controlled by Robert McFarland, and FJ Services and Sales, a company controlled by Frank Jennings and Roy Kennix. These are the awardees, the winners of a competitive contract. So what when we did the RFQ, responded to it, Lee, I think one of the things that made our application so competitive was the fact that we addressed the question, the central question that plagues affordable housing. How do you make housing affordable to people with low and moderate incomes, so they're not spending too much of their income for housing? Because historically, the notion is that if you're that you shouldn't spend any more than 30% of your income for housing. Otherwise, you're cutting into your grocery money, your health care money, the children's money for going to school, etc.
Transportation and so on.
Transportation and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we did, we said, okay, there's got to be subsidies in here. So we went to a premier person in this area, African-American woman, who has a great reputation for subsidies, working with people to take advantage of all the subsidy programs around so they could get what they need to be able to provide for the down payment assistance they need to bring that house that might ordinarily sell for $160,000, maybe to bring it down to about $140,000, $120,000, and thereby be able to afford it so they don't spend more than 30% of their income.
I'm still fascinated the fact that you remember all these figures, man. Go ahead, man. You just found them out.
I went to Southern University.
It was supposed to be, we get into all the technical stuff, Roy, and it's supposed to be a profile on you. Now we get into your project, but let's go that, sum that one up.
Carolyn Norris, just to sum it up, is our person who's going to be responsible for helping you get subsidies if you're somebody who qualifies.
All right, Carolyn, you're getting a shout out here.
And then there's Prince Norris, who's African-American, male. He's going to be the managing broker. He's going to be in charge of sales. Mm-hmm. Yvonne Hill, in charge of marketing. So those are some of the key players.
Louis Spade will be involved.
Louis Spade, the realtor who cares.
Real Louis Spade, I'm making sure you get in here. The realtor who cares.
He's going to be involved with one of the major salespersons, Tony Williams also.
So we have something that's going to be very good for our community coming in 2020. And to sum it up, right here in this lot.
Okay. All right. To sum it up also, you want to be sure that it's more than just nice houses we build for people. You want jobs. We want jobs for the community. And that's not going to happen by happenstance. This is part of my question you asked me from the outset. What is my ideology? My ideology said that the people who working class people need to have a shot at being able to earn more money so they can feed their families and not be dependent on others to do that for them. Mm-hmm. So we're saying anything that goes up in this community needs to have a full share of African American, Hispanic workers and women. So we have Lee Ford. Lee Pitts again. Lee Ford.
That's
Lee
okay.
Pitts is going to help us with the PR part.
Lee Ford is the good-looking one, and me and him joke all the time.
He's going to be involved.
Shout
with us.
you out, Lee Ford.
He's going to be involved with us in actually making sure that we have a substantial portion of minorities, African American, Hispanics, and women who are going to be involved in getting the jobs and the work that will go to build this project.
That is very important to you.
Yes, it is.
I'm glad you keep your eye on what's really important.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.